Hey guys, so this is part 2 of how setting an intention helps with starting a new routine or keeping a new routine and incorporating new things into your routine. Part 1 is linked down below if you missed it, and yeah, I hope y'all enjoy the video.
It's time to remove that base and create a new one. Build it from the brick up of motivation, of intention setting, of connecting with your dreams and your hopes and desires for a change, and just allowing space for all of that, and not allowing space for fear. Allow this new approach to allow you a certain surrender for you to actually get out of your own way and get things done, in a way that you can, because it's curated for you. Because that's the thing with the old approach. It doesn't take into account who you are, how unique you are, how unique you may be, and your mindset may be right now, where you are right now, and not that person in the future of where you want to be, how you want things to be and end up, and ultimately how other people in society wants you to be. That person in the future who may change because of the journey, that you're gonna have to allow that transformation to happen. Why don't you rather take into account you right now? Because they deserve that encouragement, Accommodate for that self that is current and not that self in the future. Because when you don't do that, the old approach, it kept you disembodied and it wasn't allowing you to be aware in order to get that wisdom that could help you to the finish line, but also spill off into other facets of your life and help your life in general. The old approach also kept you disconnected from your initial idea. It didn't allow you to set an intention, to have intentions. It didn't allow you to align yourself, your mind and body with your idea and your desires, and your hopes. And using that to create optimism, and using that ultimately as a motivator, and allowing that to show you your drive, and allowing your drive to just show up rather than trying to just anxiously make it happen, Because when that happens, it ultimately becomes more about proving yourself to your past, to other people, and less about the idea in general, the idea that you had in the first place. And rather than being about a game and mission plan for the actual idea, it rather becomes a game and mission plan for your self-esteem. Yeah, digest that, honey, digest it. This is how juicy it gets. Because this is what is underneath the surface of the old approach. And it needs to be sifted through so that we actually uproot it from the ground up and can build, not on top of it, but build something entirely new. Allow for a new approach that actually accommodates us and how we are and centers us. And in order to do that, we have to decenter the old. Decenter society, because all of that is just society in our mind pressuring us. It's conditioning, telling us what to do and how we should do it, how it should look. And if it falls outside of any of those margins, then we're so scared. But we deserve to not be scared to connect with ourselves and how we want to do things and just the things that we want to do. So decenter society when it comes to your work ethic. So that you can allow the journey to show you a different work ethic, a different sort of productivity that actually accommodates for you and allows you to harness your power and allows the journey to allow you to see your power, allows the journey to show you your power and who you actually are and that side of yourself that you've been so disconnected to for so long. Decenter society so that you can actually center your human, your emotions, your personhood, the fact that you are a human person who needs days off, you know, who needs to tend to their emotions. And so that you can just know that emotions are normal and that dealing with them is normal, and ultimately not treat yourself like a machine. Rather than screaming, crying, and throwing up just because life starts lifing. Being able to accommodate for where you are right now, who you are right now, which can help you adapt to yourself and to your needs, and then ultimately adapt to life and what the journey needs and what the journey is trying to show you. Decentering society also just allows you to do away with these harsh binaries of succeed or fail. You know, it allows you to create your own definitions for both. It allows you to see what's in that gray area and define the gray area for yourself, whatever that means to you. It can also allow you to do away with the word failure in general, you know, or at least create different parameters and standards around it, as well as the word success. Because for me, I noticed I never resonated with the word fail. You know, it always felt so harsh to me and honestly unnecessary. Because when you approach life like a student and you learn something, how can you ever really fail when you learned? You know, like in my eyes, you gained something, you gained a lesson. So how it just does not compute in my mind how that can possibly be a failure, you know? And so I accommodated for myself and I made that a thing. And you may want to make that a thing for you too in your journey and your new approach. And lastly, decentering society ultimately allows us to no longer use the fear of failure as a motivator, you know, and then mistake anxiety for drive. But then in that mistaking anxiety for drive, actually making it our drive. So that ultimately it just becomes about the fast trajectory to the finish line, you know? And it makes things more narrow. And it becomes like all about the hustle. It becomes about working hard and working a lot rather than working smart and working in a way that actually accommodates for you. Because when you use fear of failure as a motivator, you ultimately sacrifice quality, you know, because when you're fearful, you're not in your sound mind and you can't come up with creative solutions that will help you more in the long run and that actually make more sense than solutions that you may come up with while in fear. You know, you sacrifice the quality of the journey, you know, and miss a lot of the wisdom and the lessons from the specifically curated for you obstacles that come up that will help you along the way. And not only that, you sacrifice the quality of the end product. It becomes all that you could dream, but less than that. Like, not only is it capped off by our own mind and what we could think of, fear also demotes it more. You know, it makes it less. And not only that, you sacrifice the quality of the you in the future who is supposed to learn all that they can learn throughout this journey. You know, rather than going so fearful to that finish line and micromanaging everything and lessening the quality of everything because you're going through it so anxiously, the end product possibly can even become even less than what you imagined. And then you become stuck in a loop of like not feeling satisfied because it's not all that you could have dreamed of, you know? And so we start a new project just to prove something to ourselves. Rather than setting an intention, aligning with inspiration and ideas and wishes and hopes and optimism, and then allowing that end product to be not just what we could have imagined, but even more than that. You know, we're allowing the journey to just be rather than trying to control it every step of the way. I want you to also consider the fact that fear is an unsustainable source. you know? And so when we use it as a motivator, we're always gonna need to keep putting ourselves in that line of fire in order to be in fear so that it can push us to that finish line. And so it keeps us fearful. And then it gets us addicted. And then we mistake that for drive, but also we make it our work ethic and we make it our productivity. And then to us, it seems like it's all just a part of the hustle. And it causes us to not work smart and not off the strength of like sustainable sources of motivation. It just causes us to work hard, but also just a lot. And we really feel like we're doing something when we're just really doing a lot, you know, for the sake of doing a lot, for the sake of feeling like we did something. Because if we don't do a lot, if we're not so fearful and anxious on the brink of burnout, then we don't really feel like we did enough and we hustled enough. And then down the line, 10 years later, when we could have been at Beyonce level, making Beyonce money, if we would have went through the journey in a patient way, in a compassionate way, that accounted for the person that we are right now, that accommodated for the person that we are right now, even if it may have been a little slower, at a little slower pace, in order for us to take everything in and tweak everything for ourselves, which we deserve, we could have been Beyonce. But rather, 10 years later, down the line, we still doing $10, $15 shows, 4 shows a night, just for the sake of the hustle, all in the name of hustle. Like, you see where I'm coming from? That is the jig. That's how we are duped. Because we'll feel like we're hustling and we're gonna be making money doing it, but we're gonna be making chump change. You know, sacrificing the quality, the end product, as well as the compensation, just in the name of the hustle and centering societal conditioning. And so keep this in mind when it comes to the new approach that you curate. You know, keep this in mind when setting an intention, whether you want to call it an intention or you would like to call it a dream. You know, I definitely recommend that on like the first try of having a new approach. Call it a dream. You know, who's gonna judge you? Nobody. And if they do, they don't matter. Call it a wish, a hope. Don't allow other people to make you so declarative and so like, you know, honing in on it and make you ultimately so anxious. You don't have to allow other people to try and make you do things that they do. If they make declarative statements, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, and if they like things to be so fixed and so tried and true, you know, you don't have to do that. You can allow yourself to be a student. Allow yourself to discover, you know, to be inspired. Allow yourself to connect with your creativity so that you can use it to find necessary solutions on the journey, but also for your life. You know, allow for a new approach rather than just being what other people want you to be and ultimately say is right. Because you never know. And, you know, walking in and being embodied in your new approach, you may just inspire those same people who judged you to do things differently. So, be that light. Firstly, for yourself. And allow not only for something new, but something that actually works for you. I didn't even mean to make that rhyme, but bars. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really, truly do appreciate it. I really hope this was able to help y'all in at least one way, but in a myriad, multiple of ways. Good luck on your new journeys and on the new things that you want to start. Do not forget to check out my other content. It will all be in the description. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.